We are presented by Intuit QuickBooks. We are live in New York City, Wednesday, November 13th. A new face at the table. Yes, I'm Kay. Yes, he's Nate and Peter and Kyle. But Michael Silver.
Oh! Hi, Mike. Hey, everybody. The Silver Fox.
Not used to being up this early Pacific time.
It's okay.
We love having you.
You look good.
I hear you were in Philadelphia last night. We'll dig into all of that. But sing lead block with us. Ready? It's time for the
Lead block!
Yes, you nailed it. The Seahawks.
I did better my second time.
You did. The Seahawks handed Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners their first loss of the season Monday night. And that's a game that everyone is still talking about. But on Tuesday, it was a former 49ers quarterback grabbing the headlines. With more, here's Tom Pelissero.
Thanks, Kay. The NFL sent memos to all 32 teams on Tuesday, inviting them to a Saturday workout and interview in the Atlanta area with free agent quarterback Colin Kaepernick. My understanding is this is the product of weeks of discussions between the league and Kaepernick's representatives, who have expressed frustration that Kaepernick still has not been employed by an NFL team since 2016. On Tuesday morning, the league reached out to Cap's reps, saying they wanted to give him this opportunity and forum to show and say that he is ready and willing to play football again. The agents green-lighted those memos, one from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to club executives, and another from the NFL Player Personnel Department to GMs, head coaches, and others. The workout and interview will be run by National Football Scouting, which also runs the Combine. For any teams that don't attend, video of both will also be available. Back to you, Kay.
Appreciate you straightening out everything for us. Tom Pelissero. Colin Kaepernick did tweet this yesterday saying, quote, "I'm just getting word from my representatives that the NFL League office reached out to them about a workout in Atlanta on Saturday. Looking back shape and ready for this for 3 years. Can't wait to see the head coaches and GMs on Saturday. The workout is taking place in Atlanta. Also said Saquon will not be, of course, it's a league organized event.
Let me out here. I need a break.
GMs, coaches, scouts are invited, but a very selective list, right?
Yeah, look, they're going to invite all these teams, but it's on I mean, that's not saying typically NFL teams, head coaches, and general managers are at NFL stadiums preparing for their Sunday games. Yeah. So what you might see as 32 head coaches and GMs as a standard pro day you'd see at the college level, this isn't exactly that.
Okay, Mike, starting with you, because we gave some of our thoughts, but I'd like to hear what you think about the league organizing this workout for Colin.
Well, first of all, I want to stay positive. This is good. I'm glad he's getting a chance to work out. He's been wanting it. And I'm glad that teams will probably send some representative, most teams. But it could have, it's not ideal, right? It's a Saturday, no notice to the teams. And Colin Kaepernick had 2 hours to say yes or no. But he is very sincere about wanting to get back in the league. And this is a guy who 5 days a week gets up at 4:30 in the morning, goes immediately to work out, often in the dark, and is still trying to present himself as a viable football player, which I think we all agree he looked pretty good last time we saw him. He still has not ever rejected anything. So the narratives out there that say he doesn't want to be a backup, he wants a certain amount of money. He's never been asked.
He played 38 snaps,
literally has been telling teams and having his agent reach out saying, I want to play, I want to play, I want to play. So yes, he's a sincere person. He's going to show up. Now, the only thing their camp has asked is who's going to be there. And
then they've already got
we're not going to get any head coaches because of the logistics. I don't know that we'll get GMs. I talked to 3 GMs before I came on here. They're still thinking about it. It's possible. But, you know, one GM said to me, listen, it's going to be a media circus outside. Are you going to see teams sending guys with black T-shirts and trucker hats without logos so that, you know, they don't have to be part of that? So I suspect that no team wants to be the team that, we didn't send anybody, and there's a little bit of pressure that way. But I don't know that it's going to be a who's who, like one of these pro days where it's like, oh, hey, there's Bill Belichick.
Sure. It's also not ideal for Kaepernick, and Mike hit on this, because in a college pro day, these guys spend 3 months training, scripting. They've got the quarterback group. Right. Here's how my workout's going to go. Right. Kaepernick's being told, hey, Saturday, 4 days from now, you're going to go work out. This is your shot.
In Atlanta, by the way.
Random city.
The college guys got
he's cutting short another trip to get there because, okay, cool. And who's running the workout?
Who's running the workout? Who's playing receiver to
What type of workout it is?
So all these questions
Nate
are
is
fair.
playing receiver.
Don't laugh.
We can
Is he playing music? Like, that's what they do with those things to be comfortable.
The thought that the NFL's doing some, backstand and flips to just give Kaepernick a chance. This isn't ideal for Colin Kaepernick either. It's not how he would have scripted it. And yet, for 2 years, he's been wanting to work out, and 32 teams have denied him that opportunity. He hasn't been offered one invite.
I feel like if they were going to play music, maybe I'd go Nas, but not Jay-Z. Just
Interesting. All right, Mike. Well, maybe you should go. Are you going to Atlanta?
I don't think that I've been invited. Peter and I, we'd jump on a plane immediately.
Absolutely.
And go, okay, if it were open. My understanding is
Mike,
it won't be open.
Let me ask you this. So, as a guy who played against Cap, I've always appreciated his talent. As a guy who went to the same college as Cap, I've always wanted him to succeed. Now, what he did off the field and sitting out over the last few years, taking time in his life to dedicate himself to social issues, do you think he spent enough time talking to the football world about how much he wants to play? Not that he has to, not that he owes it to us or the fans, but because we live in a day and age where we feel like we're part of the storyline. It's almost like we felt like we were owed. Hey, Cap, talk to us. Send us a tweet out. Make a video. I know occasionally he'll post something that's a little bit dramatic and produced up, but do you think he did enough to make people believe that he wants to play football?
He feels strongly that he shouldn't have to. And, listen, I would love to. I like hearing him talk, the Nevada education. He's obviously, like Nate, a guy who has a lot to say. He took a stand on something that was super unpopular at the time. He knew that he put himself in that position, and he was willing to live with the consequences.
I still just love
I'm one of
the
those
talent.
people who believes it's preposterous that he is not employed. I get why teams are using the distraction excuse, but realistically, we know what's happening. He's definitely one of the best 64 quarterbacks on earth, and probably
That's 32.
better.
Let's just be real.
And let's, yes, it would be cool to have him come out and say these things. He feels like he shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
There are a lot of narratives out there that frustrate people like me because I know they're not true.
Are there false narratives out there?
Yes, it's false that he has turned down offers. It's false that he opted out of his Niner deal because he wanted to leave. They told him, if you don't opt out, we're cutting you. It's false that by not taking a Broncos deal before all this happened with a drastic pay cut, that he closed out that opportunity. He wants to play, and he's been working out. So I hope teams will be a little more open-minded about it. And, yes, it would be cool if we heard all this from him, but he feels like, he has spoken through other actions. He's still donating his time and money for some pretty important.
And his resume is strong enough to where he shouldn't have to tell us that he wants to play. He was that good.
He is going to answer some questions. Like, part of this process, as Tom Pelissero outlined, is an interview process. What kind of questions do you think he'll be asked, or would you want to ask him if you got to be part of that?
Well, I would say, are you as committed as you've always been? I know his answer. It's going to be yes. There's some questions I don't think should be asked. We had a situation over the offseason with the Bengals where they were thinking about signing a player who had, protested, and basically it was asked, hey, are you going to kneel? And I think when he didn't say, I'm not kneeling, that fell apart, right? So
Do you think that's out of bounds?
I don't like it. I just think, I think it's bigger than, I understand from a business perspective why teams are squeamish, but I just think it's bigger than that. And we can be all mature. I mean, we've had players who have been through domestic violence situations and really disturbing things, and maybe it was a distraction when they came back. When Michael Vick came back, it was a distraction. You know what? Put his head down, went to work. Andy Reid, they answered questions for a couple of days.
He got a $100 million contract a couple years later.
And so I just, I don't buy the distraction excuse. If he could play, then okay, maybe use that excuse, but don't we all want to win? Isn't that
That's the whole point, right?
Let me just put one thing out there. If a team offers him a deal, regardless of team, and it's a minimum salary deal, do you think he necessarily takes it?
I think if he's comfortable with the organization and that he believes it's a sincere thing, my sense is that he would not say no to anything.
You mean like a backup? Like like league minimum?
back up with an opportunity to of course, play.
Yeah, maybe league minimum with incentives, right? I mean, if he, look, as with Michael Vick, without,
Sure.
and I don't want to make this comparison because that was a totally different thing.
Right.
But yeah, if you end up coming back and being the man, show me the money.
You're the man,
Facts.
Michael Slibber. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out. We've got more GMFB on the way. Alvin Kamara has been a fantasy stud, but I've got a name. You might want to start above him this week.
It's not my team.
Is he? Well, he only had like 5 carries left.
Tell us
Well,
more,
we
Mike.
won anyway.
Well, okay. And Mike, you're going to stick around and tell us why the Eagles could end up in the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.